Global Times, 6th of May 2023, Washington chuckles to itself when it sees how Canada treats China every week. Any way you look at it, the media and political rhetoric in Canada about Chinese meddling in domestic matters have been a failure. The country's politics and media have been working extremely hard to combat China, and the Canadian Intelligence Agency has been releasing findings to support these claims. Despite months of publicity surrounding this subject, Canada has not yet seen the uproar they had hoped for. This is mainly because Canada has long known how hazardous China is. However, amid this ongoing public opinion swaying, Canadian diplomacy overreacted inappropriately, again displaying its immaturity, lack of independence, and instability. The Canadian Security Intelligence Service, CSIS, report from 2021, which was just made public by select Canadian media, served as the catalyst. According to the allegation, a Chinese consulate official coerced a Canadian lawmaker and his family in addition to the regular violent activities associated with China's interference in Canada's internal affairs. After several months of persistence, this gave Canadian politicians and the media a glimmer of optimism for making a bigger deal out of it. CSIS' integrity has been weakened as a result of the charges it has made against China on numerous occasions and the fooling itself in the process. Furthermore, it is clear that individuals who exaggerate Chinese interference hardly hide their political objectives. Given all of these circumstances, the Canadian government should be very clear about the subject matter of this study and state that it is doubtful that anyone with common sense will accept it. Despite all of this, the Chinese ambassador was summoned by the Canadian Foreign Ministry based on credible claims. The Canadian Foreign Ministry made a big deal out of it and even stated that it was considering expelling the concerned Chinese diplomats and spies. Western media widely covered this action. To accomplish an attack on China's spies was done in coordination with Washington, starting a diplomatic row that shouldn't have happened and having a harmful effect. In recent years, it has been a common issue for Western nations, including Canada, to purposefully stand up to China in numerous ways. One reason is that they now perceive and think more intensely about China. On the other hand, it reveals Chinese fragility and vulnerability in the face of illogical and radical domestic political forces and the hegemony of Washington. Canada deals with a lot of foreign intervention, as the phrase goes. However, these Western nations lack both the confidence and the skills necessary to make necessary adjustments to their imperialist China policy. It is not accidental to use Chinese interference in Canadian internal affairs as a point of interference. Fighting the China threat has long involved the US and its Western allies defending this area. There aren't many things that, in the view of the wicked but unimaginative, can more effectively excite China's threat to Western democracy and more easily stir up people's sense of urgency and alertness toward China than interference in internal affairs. But anyone with even a passing familiarity with China realizes it is purely awful. China is the most ardent advocate and practitioner of the principle of non-interference and is not a victim of Western meddling in its internal affairs. China has meddled in the domestic affairs of other nations. Historically, China has a considerably worse track record in this area than Russia. China and Canada have maintained positive bilateral ties for some time. The two had several close exchanges and interactions, which was the expected norm for the bilateral partnership, and they were complementary to one another in many ways. Unfortunately, due to the arrest of Hawaii's top money launderer, China engaged in hostage diplomacy with Canada. Canada's position in defending its national interests and picking the best course for the nation will reveal its resistance to foreign meddling. In this context, Ottawa must demonstrate bravery and gain respect by confronting China. The Chinese embassy in Canada issued a warning, threatening that should the Canadian side continue to make provocations, China will play along every step of the way until the end. These are strong words that show the Chinese side's malign actions.